In Activity 13, Guess My Property, teams of students are first presented with an assortment of buttons and told to use what they have learned in previous activities to sort the buttons by a property of their choice. Students then take turns guessing their partner's sorting criteria. You will need the following materials from the kit: sorting trays and a half-pound package of assorted buttons. To prepare for the activity, make a copy of Activity Sheet 13 for each student. For a class demonstration, find 4 red buttons of various sizes and 6 not red buttons of various sizes. Put masking tape on the back of each button so that the buttons will stick to the board. Each team of 2 will need a sorting tray with 15 assorted buttons. To begin the activity, distribute a tray of buttons to each team and give students plenty of time to examine and handle the buttons. Stimulate class discussion by asking, what are some ways that you could sort the buttons on your tray? Students should suggest the properties that they have explored: size, shape, color, weight, material, and texture. They might also suggest sorting by the numbers of holes or the design on the buttons. Let students know that in this activity, you are going to sort a collection of buttons by a particular property, but you are not going to tell them which property you are using. Explain that instead, the students are going to have to guess what property you're using. Draw 2 large circles and start putting all red buttons in one circle and all not red buttons in another. Have students guess the property you're sorting by. If someone guesses correctly before you're done sorting, hold up each remaining button one at a time and ask students which group the button belongs in. If students haven't guessed by the time you're finished sorting, ask students to observe the differences between the 2 groups and lead them to realize that the buttons are sorted by color. Next, tell students that they are going to take turns with their partners sorting the buttons according to their own secret property. Students will have to guess the property that their partner is using. They will not be able to sort by weight, magnetism, or whether the buttons sink or float. Pick one student from each team to be the first sorter, who will sort the buttons into 2 or more groups according to a secret property of his or her choice. As that student sorts the buttons, his or her partner will try to guess the secret property. Students should be able to recognize one distinguishing property among the buttons in the group. After students have correctly guessed the property, ask the sorter, which buttons did you group together and why? How many groups did you create? How many buttons are in each group? Answers will vary and accept all justified groupings. Then, instruct students to put the buttons back in one pile in the trays and trade places with their partners. Repeat the sorting and guessing process with the new roles. Again, after the property has been guessed, encourage the sorter to explain their choice. Distribute a copy of Activity Sheet 13 to each student and help them complete it. Ask student, which group does the first button belong in and why? Students should respond that the first button belongs in Group 1 because it has 2 holes, and that all the buttons in Group 1 have 2 holes, and that all the buttons in Group 2 have 4 holes. Finally, ask students which group does the second button belong in and why. Students should understand that the second button belongs in Group 2 because it has points or straight edges. In contrast, all the buttons in Group 1 are round or have curves. To conclude the activity, take down the property charts and return all materials to the kit. For science background, reinforcement activities, curriculum connections, and information about the science reader, please consult your DSM Teacher's Guide.